We went over this one in class, but I sensed a bit of confusion remaining, and I wanted to make one additional point. So let's go over this application exercise 2.12. This had to do with the question about the price volatility related to the elasticity of demand in different markets. And the text, remember, gave you a linked example to movie tickets and how, because of a very elastic demand, supply events didn't result in much price change at all. And so this was linked to that. The other piece of information I brought in was that the price elasticity of demand for agricultural commodities tends generally to be very low, so that gave us contrasting cases. So I'm asking you why price volatility is really high in ag and real low in cinema, and I've hinted strongly that it has to do with the price elasticity of demand. So the way we do this is to think through two similar or hopefully identical supply events, and then look at one in the context of or interacted with a inelastic demand, and one interacting with a elastic demand, and look at how the price changes differ in the two cases. So the way to start this problem, as I indicated in class, oops, I need to have a pen there. The way to start this problem is to have two markets. Let's have wheat and cinema tickets, movie tickets, theater tickets. Extend this. I'm going to be a little sloppy here. Just write P and Q instead of dollars per bushel and millions of bushels per year for wheat, and dollars per ticket in price and millions of tickets per year. Let's try to draw two identical supply events. I can't remember whether I did a bumper crop or a drought. I think I did a drought. So let's make this the initial supply, this the new supply, and we'll have that supply decrease. And I'm going to try to draw freehand exactly the same event. I don't have to be exact. As long as I'm pretty close, I can show what I want to show. Because, as you'll see, I'm really going to exaggerate the differences in price elasticities of demand. And that's a rhetorical strategy. Maybe they're not that different in real life. But remember, I'm going for the answer to the question, what's going to happen if demand is inelastic? So let's draw a really price inelastic demand curve here, and a very elastic demand here. That exaggerated contrast in slope will get me where I need to go. So the initial price is P naught in wheat, Q naught in wheat, and I'm ignoring units for now. I don't have specific numbers. P naught in cinema tickets, and Q naught in cinema tickets. And let's use a different color to emphasize the point. I'll go to orange. I should have probably drawn my new supply curves with that different color too, just to look real snappy. All right, well, in wheat, this supply event led to quite a rise in price, only a very small change in quantity. And remember, that's what an inelastic demand curve tells us. The proportionate change in quantity is very small relative to the proportionate change in price. And of course, that's what we're seeing here. So supply events are going to lead to big price changes in wheat and other markets where price elasticity of demand is low. By contrast, in movie tickets, supply events are going to perhaps lead to a big quantity change. I drew quite a big supply event, but even so, because of this elastic demand, and of course I've exaggerated it, but that elastic demand means that for any given quantity effect, here the move from Q0 to Q1, the associated price effect, given the nature of this demand curve, is very small. And that's what an elastic demand means. And so in a market where demand is elastic, price changes for any given supply event are going to be relatively small. So that's that. Let me just show you the answer key. It's a little prettier. You saw this in class. I did this on computer, so I had to squish it a little bit to get them into my PowerPoint slide, but there you have it. Same point illustrated a little more neatly. Then I wanted to go on in class, but ran out of time to talk a little bit about the associated revenue effects. Note that we can talk about, I better switch to an arrow, a pointer, instead of, let's just use an arrow instead of that star. Anyway, notice that the revenue initially in the wheat market is P naught times Q naught, which, lo and behold, that's the height and the width of this yellow rectangle. This green section was just yellow before I added the blue one on top of it. So that visual, that area of this box here, it's pretty square, is the revenues earned before any supply event. Well, in the market where demand is inelastic, notice what happens. Supply event happens, we move up along the demand curve. Notice that the new revenue is P1, Q1, and it's that new taller and a little bit skinnier rectangle, but not very much skinnier. So this little, I've got green as the portion of the two rectangles that overlap. So notice that what we get is this tall, skinny yellow rectangle is the revenue lost because there's less quantity sold. That's relatively small. The blue area is the new revenue associated with this increase in price for what they do sell. And you can see just visually that the area of this blue rectangle is a whole lot bigger than the area of this yellow skinny one. Well, revenues go up. The revenues follow the price effect when demand is inelastic. Well, by contrast, same rhetorical strategy, show the original revenues P naught, Q naught as this yellow rectangle, and show the new revenues P1, Q1, and this new rectangle is blue rectangle, yellow rectangle, blue rectangle, yellow and green mixed is yellow and blue mixed, it makes green. All right, what happens here is price only goes up by a little bit, quantity goes down by a lot, and when we examine the revenue effect, whoa, this lost revenue due to the smaller quantity sold is a really big rectangle relative to the new revenues gained because of that rising price. So revenues, when demand is elastic, follow the quantity effect, and here this price increase in the presence of this elastic demand has led to a revenue reduction. So that's another way to illustrate that point, that if demand is inelastic, revenue effect follows the price effect. If demand is elastic, revenue effect follows the quantity effect.